Welcome into episode number 180 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. Well, it is officially winter meetings week, which, as you can tell by my background and where I'm sitting, where I always sit, and this is not recorded early, I'm still in Minnesota. I don't really go to the winter meetings very often. I think since I've been in St. Paul, I've been 3 times, I think, in, 13 years. Not a lot for us to do there. There really isn't. It's more for the affiliated teams. Of course, the big talk on our front for the Saints' consideration has been this battle between Major League Baseball and minor league baseball, and Major League Baseball wanting to contract 42 minor league baseball teams. And within that report, they mentioned the St. Paul Saints potentially becoming an affiliate of someone, which naturally would probably be the Minnesota Twins. But that has been the big to-do in our world. You want my personal opinion? I just don't see 42 teams being contracted. I just don't see it, but I've got no inside knowledge, no inside information. But there are a few of our front office staff down in San Diego. I will be heading to a little bit of warmer weather because as I talk to you now, it is snowing outside. And then the next 2 days, it will get down perilously close to a high of 0 the next 2 days. But then everyone over at the winter meetings who are currently in San Diego, and then a few more of us in the front office are headed to Charleston on Thursday. I will talk about that next week and why we are headed to Charleston. It's sort of not a personal reason for me necessarily, but personal for the St. Paul Saints and our organization. So I'll touch on that briefly next week when we get back. With that said, let's get to, you know what, actually one more thing before we get to that. This is actually what I'd like to bring up. Every year, I make this announcement when it happens. Last night, I had dinner with JW and his family. I always take he and his family out to dinner around this time of the year as a thank you for everything that he has done on this podcast and the fact that he continues to be here during the summer. It was a great dinner. I always love spending time with him and his wife Emily and his lovely daughter Penny, who's 3 years old and is very excited to see me each and every time, which warms my heart. But I also always have made this announcement each and every year, but JW officially told me last night that he will be back for year number 7. And why wouldn't he, right? I mean, he's coming off a championship season. Why don't you want to come back and see if you can repeat? But very excited. I'm very happy that he let me in on the fact that he is coming back for next year. On another note, I'm in the process of about to choose my finalist for my full-time broadcast and media relations assistant that will join JW and myself for the 2020 season. And now with that, let's get to episode number 180 with Kevin Ray of the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Cowboys. It's kind of an interesting dynamic there. The Cowboys have their own radio network. Brad Sham does the games for the Dallas Cowboys, but they are, I believe, one of only 2 teams. I think the Raiders are the other one, and I think he talks about this, that have kind of a national deal that does all their games on, I think it's Compass Media, and Kevin does the games on there. But look, Al McCoy, who has been on this podcast and has been the longtime voice of the Phoenix Suns, he talks about the first time that he ever met Al McCoy. He talks about what it's like to kind of balance the Suns and the Cowboys. And then he talks about a very interesting race that he has been a part of. I believe it's called the Spartan race. For those of you that are unfamiliar with these races, it's imagine taking like a 10-mile run and then incorporating having to climb walls or crawl under barbed wire or doing 100 burpees intermittently throughout your long run. It is, I give him a lot of credit because it's not just doing these races, it's also training to do these races. And so we talk about that. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so wherever you get your podcast, and then be sure to rate us and follow us. Social media, Twitter at The Voice BTV, Facebook, facebook.com/The Voice BTV, and you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to it. It's episode number 180 with Kevin Ray of the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Cowboys. JW, so happy to have you back for yet another season. Roll the open.
The barbed wire crawl was pretty crazy.
So where the barbed wire just over you and you have to kind of crawl underneath?
Yeah, you have to crawl underneath it, and you're crawling in, mud, gravel, sand, whatever type setting they want to put you in. There was, I think, a 6-foot wall and an 8-foot wall and a 10-foot wall, so you had to jump that. The rope climb, you had to climb the rope and ring the bell. And with each one of the obstacles, if you failed to complete it, you had to do 30 burpees.